Hello y'all, this is Knights of Cybertron, and I just want to make another video about my topic and my opinion about the Transformers fandom. And I also want to talk about the new movie right now. And I just want to say the new movie is called Transformers Rise of the Beast. And you have some people in the fandom they are really excited for it. And you have some people that might have mixed feelings for it. But I have mixed feelings for it as well, but it's really cool that we getting some characters returning. Like Will Jack is supposed to be returning in this new movie. RC is supposed to be returning, which is cool. I also heard the rumor that Ironhide might is supposed to be returning as well. We also supposed to be getting a live action adaptation of the Beast Wars Transformers. Now, Beast Wars Transformers, it's really good to see that um, be reborn. And we get this. We got the you know the first time we got Beast Wars it was like a CG cartoon that came out like years ago. It was a 3D cartoon, and it was a lot similar to Reboot. Like anybody remember the cartoon called Reboot? That was like one of the very first animated CG, 3D. It was one of the first 3D cartoons that was ever made, and Beast Wars was sort of like the next Transformers series that was sort of like they went with that style of them looking 3D, you know, and that's how the series was. It was that's how it looked. But this new movie is going to have a live action adaptation of the Beast Wars Transformers because I'm actually more curious on how they're going to look. And I just hope that they have a realistic feel to them, like the bayverse Transformers. I hope they have a more realistic feel to them because in the Bumblebee movie, I felt like one of my biggest problems with that movie it was the blocky designs, the G1 designs on Earth just didn't look realistic, and I just hope in this movie that they will perfect that. They will do a much better job of making the robots look more believable and realistic on Earth, you know, because that's one of the things I didn't like about Bumblebee. That's one of the things. And I also want to discuss on why I prefer the previous 5 movies over Bumblebee and why I didn't like Bumblebee so much. And I think the reason why is because Bumblebee seemed like it was trying too hard to be something that it wasn't. And when I mean something that it wasn't, the reason why I didn't like the Bumblebee movie is because it was trying too hard to be too much like G1 instead of being its own version of Transformers. And that's one of the things I love about the previous 5 movies, the Bayverse, is that they tried more to be more like their own unique version of Transformers. They had their own unique designs, and those designs at the end of the day work in my opinion. They look more realistic, they look more believable. Transformers the Last Night nailed it with the realistic robot designs. The previous 5 movies nailed it. But when it got to Bumblebee, when they were on Earth, they just didn't look believable to me. Which is just my opinion. Some people may get offended and mad, but like I said, it's just my opinion. But that's just one of the reasons why I didn't like Bumblebee. It was trying too much to be G1-ish. It was trying too much to be a copy instead of being its own unique version of Transformers. Them playing the music from the 1986 animated movie. You know, um, it just was like, yeah. And then they was making it take place in the 80s, and then that felt forced too. It felt like it was being forced. It was supposed to take place in the 80s time period. That felt forced. It was like they was trying to force that. The 80s music. Like, I have nothing against the 80s music. I love the 80s, but when a movie tries too much to cater to the 80s and try to be too much, with the 80s music, it'd be like, yeah, It's being really forced, But I'm not crapping on the movie. I don't think the movie was terrible or horrible in any way, but it just wasn't my Transformers movie. It didn't capture the feeling that what the other movies did. And why do I love the Bayverse? One of the main reasons why is because Michael Bay creates a spectacle. And what I mean by that is Michael Bay, like when you watching his movies, you feel like you're a part of something big. It's sort of the same feeling you get where you're on your way to a carnival or amusement ride, and you just, that excitement, a spectacle, that's what he creates. And I just feel like when I seen Bumblebee, I didn't have that same feeling for it. It didn't capture that spectacle feeling, And that's just my opinion, That's just how I feel. Bumblebee didn't have that same feel. It wasn't enough action in the movie, in my opinion. The story was sort of like, it was okay, you know. But in my opinion, that's why I love the previous 5 movies better than Bumblebee. I felt like on Cybertron, those parts on Cybertron, like that they showed on Bumblebee, looked amazing. I feel like those designs will be perfect for a Cybertron movie, a movie that just takes place on Cybertron. But on Earth, those designs, in my opinion, just don't seem like, I don't know, just to me, they don't look realistic. They just don't look believable, you know. And that's why I prefer the Bayverse designs over Bumblebee or Travis Knight designs. Some people may prefer Knight designs, and that's cool. Some people, I know a lot of people, not a lot of people, but for what I heard, people love Bumblebee, and that's cool. Some people may feel that Bumblebee is their favorite movie of all time, and that's cool. I respect people's opinion. You know, everybody has the right to like what they like and love what they love. That's cool. But that's one of the reasons why I like how Michael Bay did. I like Michael Bay's take on Transformers movies. I like his take on it more than Travis Knight's, more than a Bumblebee movie. Um, but yeah, and I just have to say, I want to talk about more about the hate that's in the Transformers fandom. The toxicity. Your haters, your Bay haters. The ones that want to sit there and say Michael Bay ruined the franchise and he ruined my childhood and all that nonsense. Like, I feel like those people need to get over that and they need to move on and stop being so negative and toxic. Just appreciate the good things about Transformers. Just be appreciative. And I just think that the toxic fanboys, the haters out there, they never they don't appreciate change, and they don't appreciate what Michael Bay did for the franchise. They don't appreciate what Steven Spielberg did for the franchise. All they want to do is sit there and complain and just bring their negativity around other people that's positive about, that's in the Transformers community. And I just feel like at the end of the day, we got to stop the hate. And at the end of the day, I can agree. Anybody can be toxic, anybody can be hateful, anybody can be negative. That's the truth. But not everybody's like that. I agree. But at the same time, I just feel like you got to be more appreciative about things, because there's always a possibility we will never ever have Transformers live action movies. If it wasn't for Michael Bay, let's be real, or Steven Spielberg, we would never ever have a live action adaptation of Transformers. We would never ever have it. And I get that. Like, same thing with G1. G1 was the first, they was the first series that had a movie. The G1 1986 animated movie was our first Transformers movie. It was. That was the one that started it all. But to be honest, the G1 wasn't actually the original version of Transformers. The original version of Transformers was a comic book published by Marvel. Transformers was originally a comic book. It wasn't even a series first. It wasn't even a toy originally. It was a comic book. and it was published by Marvel. It was a Marvel comic, and people was reading the comics, and that's how Transformers started. That's how it started. It was a comic book. People was fascinated with the comic book. People was reading it, and it was selling. It was selling like hotcakes. It was selling like crazy, and then it became so much of a big deal. That's when they went to do the G1 series, which was it's two versions of that. It's the one that came out in America, you know, and then you have the one that came out in Japan. You have the G1. You have two versions of the G1 animated series: the Japanese version and the American version. The ones, and those versions are different from each other. The drawing is different, but yeah, that's how Transformers started. It was a comic book. G1 was not actually the original version of Transformers. It was the first series. Yes, it was. But it originally was a comic book, believe it or not. But at the end of the day, I just feel like there's not enough appreciation with people that, instead of being so negative and hateful, just appreciate what I think we just need to appreciate what Michael Bay did for the franchise, because nobody at that time wasn't willing to give us a live action movie of Transformers. Back then, if somebody would have told me, especially in the 90s, if somebody would have told me in the near future somebody's going to be doing a Transformers live adaptation of Transformers, if somebody was trying to do it, I wouldn't think it wouldn't be possible, And Michael Bay and Steven Spielberg, even the people that worked on the robots, they made it possible, They took something that was a cartoon, which originally was a comic book, and they brought it to life on a big screen, you know. So, I just feel like this, we need to stop being so hateful and negative, and I just feel like, you know, especially G1 fans, like, I'm not saying it's all G1 fans, but, the haters that's in the fandom, the toxic fan base, the toxic fandom, the section, I just feel like, they need to stop the hate, we really got to be thankful for what Michael Bay did for the franchise and appreciative. But as far as the movie that I could, as far as concerned, is that I have mixed feelings for it, because now I know the guy that's directing the new Transformers movie, Transformers Rise of the Beast, is the same director that directed Creed 2, which I did like Creed 2. Creed 2 was a great movie. So, Michael Bay is now producing. He's the producer, which I'm not gonna. Which I know, the Bumblebee movie. Michael Bay was the producer of that movie. But I think that's the reason why I'm not really that much excited as much as other people. I'm having mixed feels about it. I'm not saying I'm not excited at all, but I'm a little have mixed feels about the new movie, because I hope it captures that feeling that The Last Night made me feel, the previous 5 movies made me feel, and at the end of the day, like, I just feel like, I hope the movie is good. I hope the movie captures that feeling. Like, I hope the movie captures that spectacle feeling, because that's what I loved about the previous 5 movies, I love the previous 5 movies. Bumblebee was my least favorite, you know, because it just didn't have that feel. And I just feel like Bumblebee was trying too much to be a copy. It was trying too much to be too much like G1. It was trying too much to be something that is not. And it was trying too much to be, because the movie took place in the 80s. It was things that felt forced in the movie, you know. Like, the movie just didn't feel like a big budget Transformers movie. And to me, as a fan, I love the big budget Transformers movie. I like where the movie just feels grand and big, and I like that. The big action, the cinematic spectacle. That's what I love about That's why I prefer the bayverse over, you know, the Bumblebee movie. I love that spectacle. That's one of the things I like. I think that's what Michael Bay does very well. He captures that spectacle. And any of his movies, like even the Bad Boys movies, he does the same thing. But this has just been my video, and I just want to say God bless you all.